An enormous NBA slate today, including a lot of games on DraftKings. 10 today, 12 on FanDuel and Underdog. So we're going to do what we always do here on this channel. We're going to dig in and compare my projections to some of the industry leaders out there, like Stokastic and like our friends at Unabated. Of course, we're going to look at some of the best bets at Unabated as well, finding the highest EV options for you at about the halfway point of the show. Let's hop over to Stokastic, see what the top Sim DFS lineups are for tonight's slate. By this video, you'll know the splash plays for the must day, along with hopefully your must plays across betting, across DFS. Let's get into it. Long weekend here, going to be a short week for me on the channel. I'll talk about more of that in a moment. Shout out to I am the KY here, of course, a member who joined down below. Shout out to CJ, always bringing positive aloha vibes, and our guy Cobalt as well. Appreciate him being here and the kind words. Let's talk about our Q tag tweet for the day. Of course, presented by Underdog, but not really. Questionable. Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, really key ones here. Nikola Jokic currently looks like one of the best plays in the slate. Number two would be Luka Doncic to me. Luka Doncic's rates without LeBron James, who over the weekend hurt his groin, seemingly going to be week to week, at the very least day to day at this point. Luka Doncic's average on the Lakers so far, court time without LeBron, court time without Rui, has averaged over 50% usage and a 60% assist rate. Those numbers, I presume, can't hold, but with how much the Lakers have been consolidating possessions to Luka, to LeBron, I would think that it can. So for Luka Doncic, really important play today because he might go off if he does go on a Lakers team that's got nobody else taking shots. Jason Tatum, Q tag for him, that matters a lot. Kristaps Porzingis already out. For Boston. Trae Young, Q tag. Obviously, that's going to matter for the Hawks. Tyrese Halliburton, Q tag. That would matter a lot for the value for the Pacers opening up. Guys like Nembhard looking better. TJ McConnell, people take the shot on that again, as we have before. Lowry, Markkanen, Q tag. Fred VanVleet, Jamal Murray, John Collins, Al Horford. For the Jazz, just to quickly note, because we saw John Collins and Lowry Markkanen, you have Colin Sexton in today, Jordan Clarkson out. Keontae George out, which is not a combo that happens very often. So John Collins' status actually does matter a little bit. And I guess maybe you could get a Jazz, everybody sitting day late. Who knows? Al Horford, Zach Edey, Stephon Castle, Andre Drummond for a Sixers team that is also absolutely starting to tank. And doubtful tags for Kristaps Porzingis, Lonzo Ball. He's actually, I believe, out, but doubtful out, same thing. And TBDs on Malik Monk, Denny Avdia. So there's a lot on the slate. But let's get into my projections, guys. And of course, you get access to this data you see on the screen. Joining one of the tiers down below, the Squirt Squad tier will show you all of my matchup screens here. Squirt Squad VIP tier will show you the stuff sortable by my projections. So you can do the same thing here that I do on screen. Love to hear that from Curtis. My data's helped a lot. I appreciate that very much. Nikola Jokic, and hopefully it'll continue to help. Still here every day, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m., besides this Thursday and this Friday. Nikola Jokic, 66.4 is my projection. Stokastic also has him at 66.4. No Aaron Gordon today. Does historically give a pretty big rate increase to Nikola Jokic. Gets closer to a 1.9 fantasy point per minute player. It's about where I have him at today. That said, with the price tag at 12.9, did not get him a ton. Getting him at 12% of my lineups, fields at 11. So holding hands there. It is a tough price tag for Jokic, and especially with how highly projected I have Luka Doncic for. Easier to get to Luka, but on a slate where people can't get to Jokic, that is sometimes the way to win it. If Jokic puts up 100 points like he did for us on Friday, that could matter quite a bit, as you might imagine. Luka Doncic at number 2, 65.7 is my projection. Stokastic hadn't updated for Jackson Hayes being out and a few other Lakers, so I think that might be why they're so much lower. I'm also giving Luka, as I mentioned, the really aggressive rates that he has so far. Court time for the Lakers, again, without LeBron, without Anthony Davis as well. That matters for Luka, obviously. And again, without Rui Hachimura, Luka's averaged 1.9 fantasy points a minute with that aforementioned 53% usage rate, 14% rebound rate, 61% assist rate, only 55% true shooting. So theoretically, he could shoot better. The rates are insane. It's only been about 75 minutes, 150 possessions, so like 400 less possessions than we want to see to really trust that rate. But I do think it gives kind of representation of what the ceiling is for Luka Doncic in this game. So to me, soft matchup for the Lakers as well. They're playing at Brooklyn, I believe. Yeah, 7:30 game there for them at Brooklyn. Pretty good team total for the Lakers as well. So if Luka plays, he looks good. If Luka's out, I honestly don't even know. I really don't know who'd be worth playing from the Lakers besides Austin Reeves. Jason Tatum here at number 3. Obviously, if he doesn't play, that would matter quite a bit with the Q tag on him. If he does play, he looks like your best projected Celtic, gains the most for having Porzingis out. I had him at 51 fantasy points today, but would still only be getting him in 4% of my top 150 lineups. Fields at 16. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing Denver on the back-to-back. Feels kind of weird. Wouldn't shock me to see something getting ruled out here. The OKC's already submitted their report. Chet Holmgren not on it. SGA not on it. Jalen Williams not on it. Denver, though, does have Jokic Q tag, Jamal Murray Q tag, so maybe Denver calls guys out, and the Thunder could rule some guys out. I don't know how that's going to go today, so I'm just going to flag that right now. That's at SGA and 11K salary, 9% of the field's there. I guess 10%. I'm giving it 1% of my lineups. Holy Najee indeed. So Najee Marshall, I don't know why you'd project him lower. What I have him at right here. Najee Marshall, 6,800. Last 2 games has had about just 60 fantasy points, a little bit shy of that in one. I think went just over that in the other. Has played about 40 minutes the last 3 games. Has put up about 20 shots the last 3 games. Has put up nearly a triple-double the last 3 games. The entire offense is flowing to Najee Marshall right now. The rates as well for the Mavs. Court time with pretty much everybody who's not available today. In particular, the key guys, Kyrie, Luka Doncic, who else do we even have? PJ Washington, whoever else gets usage. In court time without those guys for the Mavs, Najee Marshall's average 1.3 fantasy points a minute in about 400 possessions, 24% usage, 15% rebound rate, 19% assist rate, does everything on the court at this point. I guess the way that he would fail would be somebody else in the team. I think in particular, Brandon Williams, who's also a Q tag. He's been really good if he were to play, and he hurt his hamstring yesterday, couldn't get back in the game. So I don't think he does play, even though he's in the projection set right now. You need somebody who's like really good to kind of get the ball into Najee Marshall's hands or them to cut his minutes. The issue is they can't cut his minutes because they only have 9 guys available, 2 of which are Caleb Martin and Dwight Powell, both guys pretty hard minutes limited. So Najee Marshall has to play likely high 30s minutes, if not 40 plus minutes here. He does a little bit of everything. He's on the court, tries hard out there. 21% for the field. I'm getting him in every lineup here because I have him projected for just shy of 50 fantasy points. And I don't know, like you could knock it down a little bit, but he and Desmond Bane, to me, I think both project really well because the situations they have for the Mavs, just nobody left. And for the, for the Grizzlies, it's basically the fact that Bane just shoots an incredible amount when Jaren Jackson and Santi Aldama are off the court. And really Jaren Jackson's a big part of that, but you add Aldama on top. Bane, to me as well, projects just shy of 50 fantasy points. So to me, these 2 guys here, spoiler alert, splash plays of the day, they both project just shy of 50 fantasy points, not at a salary that's remotely correct. So Najee Marshall in particular, but Bane getting him in 44% of my lineups, feels at 26. So these are really big projection stands today, but I think I'm right about him. So that's how this works. Alperen Şengün, 3% for me, 2% for the field, getting a little bit of a rate increase because of Amen Thompson out, but not enough. If you get Fred VanVleet out, it's going to look a little bit better for all the Rockets. Şengün being, one of the guys who benefit the most. But I would say at this point, Şengün, okay play, hard to get to, hard to love. But, if there were a lot of ownership that started to go here when the data updates, if more value opens up, let's say, a guy like Şengün gains an appeal because people will probably find a way to pay up against Jokic, pay up against a Doncic. You could play guys in that 9K range. We've seen that hit enough times. I forget a Friday how the winning lineups worked, where it was obviously a lot of Thunder opening up value, but I'm pretty sure it ended up being more balanced where it wasn't. Jokic had 100 points to get out of him, but it ended up being like not 2 pay up guys. It ended up being like 1 pay up guy, I think, in Jokic, and then a couple guys in the 8 to 10K range. At least that's how I'm remembering it. It was Friday. Things are a little blurry at this point. Point being, though, is like in general, that'd be one way to handle things. Like if there's a lot of value that opens up throughout the course of the night, people immediately go to Jokic, Doncic, Tatum, SGA. If you go to a guy like Şengün, go to a guy like Towns on FanDuel, I guess, that could have some appeal. So that's the main reason to play Şengün right now. But as it is, he looks okay, not great, with just Amen Thompson out and Fred VanVleet expected to be in, or I guess questionable tag. So he's in the data set. Trae Young, Q tag for him, as I've talked about enough times here, looks fine overall, but really one of those players who doesn't gain a whole lot from the various Hawks no longer on the team. The usage kind of spread around a little bit more. Still a guy putting up a 30% usage rate, over 40% assist rate. So I think about 1.25 fantasy points a minute. Court time without Bogdan Bogdanovic, without DeAndre Hunter, without Jalen Johnson, the key Hawks who had the ball before. Now, if your new guys in who kind of do similar things, take a little bit more usage away. In particular, I think Dyson Daniels' rates still going up overall. Honestly, Niang's rates have been up a little bit as well. Really, all these guys kind of taking a little more away from Trae. So no issue with Trae either. He'd be another guy in that not quite paying up all the weights here. But at 9,700, he just doesn't look that great to me. 2% of my top 150 lineups. In the fields at 7. John Morant getting him in about 11% of my lineups. Fields also at 11. Josh Giddey, 7% for me, 6% for the field. Giddey, the big rate winner in court time without Levine, without Dosunmu, without Lonzo Ball. All guys not going today for the Bulls. But Vucevic back in. So Giddey comes down a little bit, but still should be, I think, your best Bull overall. Let's sort by value. We're going to see a few games we already saw, including our boy Najee here. I think is your top value overall. No, Tristan Vukovic, slightly better. So Tristan I think it's Vucevic. Tristan Vucevic. So basically for him, you have Rashawn Holmes out. So Vucevic now getting the backup minutes for Washington. He's been a great producer, about just shy of 1.3 fantasy points per minute. One of those guys, the mini Jokic role I talk about a lot with centers at Şengün. Same thing here. And I called that pretty early on. And now he's actually, I think, statistically, one of the few guys hit a mark that Jokic hit at age 24 in terms of his points per game numbers, rebounds per game numbers, and assist numbers. Vukovic is one of those guys as well. So I think to him, the issue is you have Alex Sarin. Sar projects not that well for me. I do get Alex Sar wrong a lot. I've missed his ceiling games, if that actually matters that much, because he barely ever cracks 40 fantasy points, if ever. But that said, if you're not going to play Vukovic or Vucevic, you should try to bump Alex Sar up a little bit more, because it probably means that Sar maybe got to 31, 32 minutes. Vucevic got in foul trouble or something, or just didn't play as well as Sar did. That's sort of the way to get away from the value for Vucevic. He's going to produce well. He's not going to have a crazy high ceiling, you would think, unless the game gets out of hand. But for Toronto, he's going to be facing like backup centers. He's going to be facing Colin Castleton, who's like the biggest stiff in the world, besides, I'm sure, all of your genitals. But he's a guy just out there running screens, not really shooting, not doing a whole lot, just functionally useless. Vucevic is like so much better than a guy like Castleton. He should eat him up. Orlando Robinson, not very good. The center situation for Toronto overall, when Pirtle's not in, it's just like a disaster now. So Vucevic, to me, I think will be fine. But Sar could also be good. And if Sar hits, he's going to kill the Vucevic team. So keep that in mind here with the field at 36%. I'm getting Vucevic in 64% of my lineups, but the other 36% that don't have him, I'm probably going to have Sar boosted. And, I would like to mark that down a little bit. Jay Huff, Day, and Clark and Edie are out. I'm not even really there mentally. I don't think he's projected to play minutes right now, but you would need both guys to be out to feel okay about that. Getting both guys out feels unlikely to me. One of them being out and you get a few minutes for Jay Huff, but he's still not playable, would be my guess. Najee Marshall, my number 2 value. Talked enough about him. Again, does everything, plays 40 minutes basically. The Mavs at this point, if they don't have Brandon Williams in, and I don't think they should play him, they would have 8 guys available today, 2 of which are minutes limited. That means that Najee Marshall would have to be out there for, at the very least, like 35 minutes, like Stokastic has him for, with a shot of it being 40. So Najee Marshall, to me, I think a play you go to here. Your big concern is just that, like, he just played yesterday, played 40 minutes, touched the ball in like every possession. That can get tough at a certain point, but with how he projects for me, I don't know how he's not going to be in pretty much every lineup. Lonnie Walker, a guy that I'm giving a pretty big minutes uptick to. He did play basically these minutes yesterday, though. And today you have Kelly Oubre out, so that does help a little bit. Andre Drummond, I also expect not to play, even though he's in the data set right now. Lonnie Walker producing around 1 fantasy point per minute. I think he is a guy getting more minutes as we're going on. Philadelphia now not going to play the starters, push their minutes at all, I think, or they're going to monitor minutes moving forward. And yesterday that meant Kelly Oubre played like 20 minutes, and now he's out today. Quentin Grimes played 28 minutes, I believe. Got in for the fourth quarter stint, but didn't play as usual. High 30s has been playing lately. As a result, Lonnie Walker's minutes seem pretty secure. So again, not really great value, but he did go for 50 fantasy points yesterday. And for people who played the weekend slate, they're going to know that. So 12% predicted ownership for Lonnie Walker. I am getting him. He should marry Najee Marshall, and then they should both be in all my lineups together. That's actually probably what's going to happen anyway. But Lonnie Walker here, 36% in my top 150, fields of 12. So he is another good value. If Lonnie Walker were to not somehow play all those minutes, Ricky Council probably got a few more. I'm giving Council 24.5 minutes here. Not a player is who I love, but at a 3K minimum salary, 19-point projection or so, he is very playable. And 3K guys, that's sort of how that looks. Congrats on the ads. Thank you. I'm glad you guys, the only channel here people will be happy to get ads for the first time, but thank you. Yes, we hit 1,000 subs and I put YouTube to automatically put ads on. So if it puts a lot of ads, I'm sorry. And if it puts a reasonable amount of ads, then you can thank me. I don't know, but I'm hoping YouTube doesn't kill you guys with ads. Anyway, Ricky Council looking good. Miles McBride, FanDuel / Underdog slate looks okay. Late slate for DraftKings would be an okay value as well. Adem Bona, if you get Drummond out, his minutes are probably pretty secure. He played basically the second half yesterday entirely. Also played alongside their other big man, Alex Reese. So his minutes are pretty locked in at 3,400. Not been a great producer on the year, kind of an Orlando Robinson type, where he's a big man, but he's not doing a lot of great big man stuff. He's an okay value, though, especially if you get Drummond out. Not getting him into a ton of lineups right now, but that's because Stokastic did an update for everything. Desmond Bain, talked about him already, getting him in 45% of my lineups, feels at 25. RJ Barrett, the man in the thumbnail, very unflattering photo of him, but he's really the big rate winner for having Grady Dick out along with some of the other Raptors who are no longer available. Guys like Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown. RJ Barrett's pushed 34% usage in court time without the various Raptors, and I actually had to keep a few on there not playing today. Guys like Jacoby Walter, who is out today, but has been out there enough minutes. I just had to try to get enough of a sample size for Toronto. But Barrett's averaged 35% usage, 21% assist rate, 1.1 fantasy points per minute without some of the various Raptors not available. Barnes looks better to me at 1.4 fantasy points per minute, but I do have a better value metric for Barrett. Quickly also gains a good amount. You would love to have one of these guys out like we had on Friday, where I basically had Barnes and Quickly in every lineup. So like we talked about on the show, would say that getting Barrett in makes it so like if Barnes and Quickly have a great day, Barrett could fail as chalk. If Barrett has a great day, Quickly probably doesn't do quite as well. But the ownership here, 32% for the field on Barrett. I'm giving it 46. He looks really good to me with a 44-point projection. And he, Bain, and Marshall, with how my projections look, like that's sort of the core of a lot of lineups today. Onyeka Okongwu, 39% for me, 24% for the field. Another rate winner from the various Hawks who are no longer on the team. Russell Westbrook getting a few more guaranteed minutes with Aaron Gordon out. Looks good here. 22% for me, 6% for the field. And D'Angelo Russell, he went off over the weekend, put up like 2 fantasy points a minute while not topping 30 minutes, I believe, in the game that he played. His rates have been good. Cam Thomas is out today. So you're getting the full boost that Russell gets with no Cam Thomas. Obviously, no Dennis Schroeder, no Ben Simmons. His assist upside comes up. Usage comes up. He looks like a lot better player. The issue is that he's only projected for 26.4 minutes. So getting him in about 27% of my lineups, fields at 17. But Russell, a mid-tier price play, he looks pretty good. Frankly, borderline value, with a 6x value on him. And that is my projection there by rank order. We're going to go game by game real fast here. Before we do that, guys, please do make sure to subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Sure, we hit 1,000 subs, but what's up next? 2,000. I mean, before that, we got to hit 1,100, got to hit a bunch of different gold marks in between. But please do subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please leave a comment. All your engagements go a long way from here. Just one guy trying to do the best I can. Give you a read on NBA soon. Read on MLB every day because I know how to parse this stuff out pretty well. I have access to some really great tools, of course, my partners at Stokastic and Unabated. So we do here every day, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. for NBA. And once MLB season starts up, we'll figure out when the fuck I'm going to do that. Unabated, do check them out as well. 20% off. Link in the description. Great betting data. Cheap DFS projections as well. If you want to pay for mine, use Unabateds and probably get better versions of what I do anyway. But check them out. Link in the description for their betting tools or DFS stuff, whatever you want. Get the discount, 20% off. And Stokastic, 15% off. Link down below. Data, sims, all that stuff. You'll see their sim later on in the show. You're going to see some of their ownership projections, their projections as we go through here, and you can compare them to mine. All right. First game up, and we're going to try to go fast today because it's got 12 minutes before the halfway point, and there's a shitload of games. Washington, 106.8 implied points. As I mentioned earlier, Tristan Vukovic is going to be your chalk value of the day. Looks great. Great producer on the year at 1.23 fantasy points a minute. Counting for the team total in the matchup today, I've been exactly the same, 1.23 fantasy points a minute that he's been all year. For Vukovic, the big issue is really that Alex Sarr projected for 27 minutes here. He's likely going to play more like 30, assuming the ball goes out of bounds or there's a foul in time. He's not just sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in, like sometimes happens. It's kind of a random act of variance on a given NBA slate. But Alex Sarr, to me, he's your pivot point. You play him at 5,600. If he hits the ceiling, Vukovic probably fails. Vukovic still might not fail, but really the thing is, like for Vukovic, he has to take minutes away from Sarr. Like he has to either play so well they don't take him off the court, or again, just kind of get lucky there. No dead balls. He stays on the court, maybe closes out the second half or something because they called for Sarr a little bit late. Like that's sort of what you're hoping for. So I think for Vukovic, he looks good. A little bit leery of having 64% with the field at 36, but especially again for like the first play on the slate, you have Nikola Jokic, who's a questionable tag right now in a back-to-back versus the Thunder. If he were out, you'd open up DeAndre Jordan at near minimum salary, or maybe even at minimum. I don't even know what he is offhand. So that's really your thing for Vukovic, but whose name I'm going to keep changing every time I pronounce it. He looks great, but just keep in mind like that there's a little bit of risk there. But he's going to get you at the very least 15 minutes, probably closer to 20 because of not having Rashawn Holmes in. Besides that, your sneaky low owned play. I don't think he's going to be sneaky low owned, my friend. I talked about that already. We got Tristan Vukovic here. Okay, so talked about him. Champagny getting 13%. YouTube just does what it does, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's the same thing I do in the football channel. I just give it the chance to do it. Apologize. Pay for YouTube Premium. I don't know what to tell you. Justin Champagny here, 21% for the field, 13%. My sim exposure here. Another value play, not quite as good, not even nearly close to Vukovic, but there's a chance, I guess, the Raptors could go small. Maybe Vukovic gets behind. That's how it goes. Toronto here, 119.3 implied points. RJ Barrett here. There you go. You got premium. You know, YouTube Premium is one of the best things I pay for in a given month, but I also do have my phone locked a lot of the day and I listen to stuff. So I get it, but I'd recommend it. YouTube will fucking run a lot of ads. I don't know what to tell you. Toronto, 119.3 implied points. RJ Barrett, 46% of my lineups have him right now. Again, I feel like flattening this out, getting some Barnes, getting some quickly, that all makes sense. Orlando Robinson, 18% of my lineups have him. 21% of the field has him. Orlando Robinson, not a great producer. We saw the minutes get jerked around on Friday. I thought he looked like a good value. Then as the minutes kind of got updated throughout the day, I shouldn't get there very much. On this slate, there's less good value, but frankly, I'd take the shot still on Vucevic over him. Colin Castleton doesn't produce well enough, but he could take minutes away from Robinson. Again, he's a really good screener. He just doesn't do a whole lot after the screen, and he tries to screen on every play. So, like, guys who are lead ball handlers will like to have him on the court. But he's not a good player either. So Robinson, Castleton, theoretically, Castleton is your leverage against Robinson at the exact same price tag. He's not been a good producer at 0.72 fantasy points a minute on the year. I think that's it for Toronto. So a lot of Barrett, I think, trying to get common amounts here of Barnes, Barrett quickly, or at least get up a little bit more, on Barnes and quickly be the move. Because if Barrett fails, it's likely because one of those guys had a great day. Charlotte, 104 implied points on their side. Miami, 113 implied points. Got nothing on Charlotte, so we'll skip through here. You have Mark Williams in, you have Nurkic in, you have Diabate in. Over the weekend, Diabate played a game with no Nurkic, no Mark Williams, played almost 40 minutes in that game, went nuts. We're not getting that today, so everybody's in. Miles Bridges has been going nuts lately in every situation. Won a game for the Hornets over the weekend with a last-minute block. Would say that for Miles Bridges, he's playing well enough that maybe you could still take shots at him here, but tough matchup versus Miami, not a great team total. Even I am not on Miles Bridges today. Miami on their side, nobody above 5% for the field, nobody above 4% for me, so we could skim through there. You'd have to have somebody out for it to help here at this point, but these guys kind of all appropriately priced. Bam Adebayo, I think playable, but nothing great. Lakers here, 111.5 implied points, pace down spot going against Brooklyn. And I think a 6.5 point spread for the Lakers on the road. I don't know if that feels like Luka playing or not, but Luka right now, if he does play, projects incredibly well. As I mentioned earlier in the video, court time without LeBron and Rui in particular, Luka's put up a 50% assist rate and a 60% or 50% usage rate and a 60% assist rate, like impossible numbers that don't exist in the NBA. Again, I don't know if that can hold over the course of time, but even if it's like 40 and 50 for both categories, he's probably going to put up 60 fantasy points a lot of nights without LeBron. So I think Luka at a 12K salary, if you can't afford to get a Jokic, looks pretty good. If he doesn't play, Austin Reeves, I think, would be a must play at 7,500. Vanderbilt looks pretty good with a 29-minute projection. Getting these guys, 11% for Vanderbilt, 19% for Reeves, 24% for Luka. Connect, I think, would come in the mix if Luka were out more. Jordan Goodwin or Shake Milton could get a start potentially. You would know all this stuff pretty early because it's a 7:30 tip-off game, and the slate today does start at 7:30 Eastern, so keep that in mind, not the usual 7 o'clock. But for the Lakers, you need to know Luka's status. If Luka's out, you can play anybody left. And the guys I would want to play the most would be one of Goodwin and Milton, definitely Austin Reeves, probably shots on Vincent Connect. And Vanderbilt's already pretty close to playable. I think he would get even closer. Brooklyn on their side, getting Russell is the only real piece here. 27% for me, 17% for the field. Just been a crusher overall when there aren't other lead guards out there. And that's the case today with Cam Thomas out. So for Brooklyn, not a great total here. If you get Luka out, at that point, the game's going to be pretty competitive. Brooklyn could win it. So I think Russell's minutes aren't good. So that's sort of the trade-off. Utah here, we talked about a lot of Q-tag guys already, and you already have ruled out Jordan Clarkson and somebody else, and Keontae George, but nobody here looks that great. Nobody above 2% owned for me. John Collins is the main one. I would think I could get Collins more, but with him being a Q-tag, I don't know. I don't know if these guys are going to play. Utah, I honestly don't get what Utah's doing at all as a team right now. They still play guys enough, but they're clearly tanking at this point, so why do it? You're going to get your ass kicked by Boston anyway. Just set the starters. Boston, 123.8 implied points, real high total here. Going against a shitty team, giving up 119.4 points per 100 possessions and a little bit of a pace up, gaining about 3 possessions. So everybody here looks okay. I'm not getting a lot of Jason Tatum, though. Only 4%, Fields at 16. If he were out, you would get the same thing as we got last week. More Jaylen Brown, more Derek White, more Peyton Pritchard. But Jrue Holiday's going to be in today most likely, so that does kind of mute things a little bit, I guess. But Boston at this point, you have Porzingis out, so these guys all kind of playable. I would favor Jaylen Brown at his price tag, but we're all in the hunt. Keon Johnson birthday narrative? Okay, I'm sure it's going to matter a lot for old Keon Johnson. I mean, honestly, any net can hit in a given night. They just have to do it in less than 30 minutes usually. Philadelphia, 112.3 implied points for them. Quentin Grimes has put up a 30% usage rate and 30% assist rate in court time without Oubre, without Maxey, without Paul George, without Embiid. I don't think that holds, but I do think he's probably worth getting a little bit of on the slate in case he somehow plays 30 minutes instead of 28, and in case he just does what he can do and fill it up in short order as sort of their lead ball handler when all these other guys are out. Grimes, though, I would be leery, though, because the minutes are not all the way there. Again, played 28 after we talked about the minutes restriction over the weekend. That could change with Oubre out today, maybe give him a few more. Grimes, though, won't be a core part of what I'm doing anyway, but if I get 5 to 10%, I think it feels right with it being projected for me about 38 fantasy points. Andre Drummond, I would probably not play today. I don't think he's actually going to play, but Stokastic's ownership had him at 16%. His rates do go up a good amount, but I don't think he's getting a full run of center. They don't want to play Yabus. I don't think they're going to play Andre Drummond a full run at center. Lonnie Walker, the big piece here, getting 3x the field for Lonnie Walker at this point. Jared Butler wasn't coming up in the Stokastic data. I do think he's a better play than they had in their initial run of data. Butler, though, you kind of want to see the start. But last game, when they did ramp down the starters in the second half, Butler played, I think, 15 minutes in the second half. So Butler in this game, if he's going to start and he's going to get you 30 minutes, he's probably a guy that matters. If he comes off the bench and they keep the starters' minutes limited, he's probably also more in play than it seems. But he's not one of the guys who are giving full unencumbered run to, so it's hard for me to fully trust Butler in the way you'd like to see. And again, Lonnie Walker, 3x the field here. He's probably the most guaranteed minutes out of everybody here. Unless Drummond is out, then Adem Bona and Alex Reese are going to be locked into splitting 48 minutes at center plus a little bit at the 4. What build settings would I recommend for the slate? Thanks for all you do. We're talking about for the Sims. For the Sims, you should just be running what the usual tournament structure is. So 35% to first is what I do. Some people run less. I don't know. But yeah, for me, I don't do much to change the settings too much. The projections are my way of being unique. And you're one of the people that has access to it. So let me know how it's going. Philadelphia. So lots to watch out for here. I think in general, if Drummond is out, Adem Bona going to be a viable value play, averaging about 0.82 fantasy points per minute. Alex Reese is really the interesting one. If he were to get a start somehow, and I don't think he could pass Bona in the rotation, he's averaging 1.45 fantasy points a minute. I'm at 1.2 today. He might be a little bit of a fantasy treasure trove at a 3K minimum salary. Just hard to trust if you have Drummond in today. If Drummond's out, though, he and Tristan Vukcevic, probably kind of similar concepts. Atlanta, 123.8 implied points on their side of the equation. And that's another thing to know for Philadelphia. They are playing Atlanta. So, we've seen Atlanta get abused, give up high team totals. So the Sixers, whoever's playing for them, you can take shots. For Atlanta here, Trae Young, not a lot of ownership for the field. I'm not getting there either. Same thing for Dyson Daniels, even though you have Dyson Daniels projected about a fantasy point higher than Stokastic does. Okongwu's the big one here. I've gotten him every slate. You still run the risk you do every slate of Capella having one of his random good games, the dead balls not going out of bounds at the right time and him getting a few more minutes. That's happened before and limiting Okongwu's upside, but he's rebounding like a monster. He's been really good, so I'd play Okongwu a good amount. I am doing that right now. 39% of my top 150. Fields at 24. And nobody else here stands out that much. Mo Gay is another value play. That's that. Denver, 112.5 implied points. OKC, 123. That feels like what the spread would be with Aaron Gordon out, but with Jokic and Murray questionable, there's a lot hanging in the air in this one. Back-to-back, same teams playing back-to-back. It's a little bit tough. It was an afternoon game yesterday, so that gives them a little bit more time, I guess. But Denver right now, nobody that highly owned. 12% Jokic, 11% Porter for me. Now, not getting Jamal Murray, which is going to be the case how shittily he's played for the most part on the year. Westbrook getting him almost 4x the field. Denver looks okay, but Jokic being out, yeah, DeAndre Jordan is minimum salary, so that would matter. You could also get a Najee start. Jordan has been, I think, bumped down the rotation lately, so it might not be a guarantee that he would get the start. Because I don't think he played yesterday, right? DeAndre Jordan didn't play yesterday. Nikola Jokic's technical backup was, I guess it was Najee. Yeah, then the second half when he came out, they brought Jamal Murray in, and they had a Murray, Porter Jr., Westbrook, Najee Pickett rotation. Yeah, so Najee might be ahead of DeAndre Jordan in the rotation now. So, okay. Yeah, DeAndre Jordan actually might not matter as much in the slate as I thought, because he was in the rotation a couple of weeks ago, and mentally he has been the guy who started before when Jokic has been out. But if he's not in the rotation, he might not actually pick up the spot start. So it could mean more minutes for Najee, more for Saric / Chankar behind him. Kanchar? I don't know if the fuck you say that guy's name. I always want to say Cancer. I know that's not it either. That's a weird one. That game time today is that an 8 o'clock game? Yeah, 8 o'clock game today. That's a really important one. Obviously goes without saying, but if you don't get how DFS works, just kind of keeping some flexibility here for Jokic playing or not playing seems important. Thunder on their side, Stokastic thought Holmgren was going to be out on the back-to-back, but it does seem like he's not in the injury report for now, so expecting him to play again about mid-20s minutes on the back-to-back. The total here seems like the Thunder full go, no Q tags on anybody, so who matters? So I think Thunder looking okay, but because they're all in, they're all healthy. Not a lot to love here. Getting Jalen Williams at 13%, Fields at 11. I'm not getting SGA. I don't think anything looks that good. Phoenix on their side, 120.3 implied points. Pretty good total for Phoenix. That said, nobody coming up from here. I don't have anybody above 5%. Fields at 7%, Durant, 6% Booker. These guys honestly underplayed, certainly have tournament upside, but at 9,400, 9,100, that's a pretty steep price tag. Beal at his price tag, at least kind of reasonable. Memphis on their side, Morant looks okay at 8,600. Bane looks like the big winner, though. He has gained so much in court time without Jaren Jackson and without Santi Aldama. Bane has averaged 27% usage, 34% assist rate, 1.34 fantasy points per minute. For comparison, Ja Morant's averaging 1.36. These guys are basically playing like the same guy when Jaren Jackson and Aldama are off the court. Luke Kennard's out today as well, so a few more minutes for a guy like Scottie Pippen. Vince Williams is a Q tag. If he were out, I guess Pippen's minutes get really secure. But at this point for Memphis, like, you're missing Kennard. You're going to have concentrated, guard minutes for the most part with Morant and Bane. Bane's opportunity goes up from the guys who aren't available. So I think Bane is a smash play today, getting him in 45% of my lineups. Fields at 25.5%. Was Beal officially out? I might have missed that amidst the updates. I had to update everything myself today, so it's possible I missed something. Let's see. Oh, we actually got a bunch of injuries here. Jokic, somebody in chat said, warming up the intent to play. Okay. Let's see. Najee probable. Beal is out? Okay. So Beal being out would make Durant and Booker look a little bit better. I don't think enough, though. Those price tags are really high. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't love the spot. I don't love the price tags for Durant and Booker no matter what. Beal being out, though, does make it more palatable. And yes, if Beal's not playing, then you shouldn't play him. But basically, you'll just get similar usage, similar assist, whatever, from Grayson Allen taking a few more minutes. Tyus Jones potentially taking a few more minutes. Bull, I would guess. Bull could start, and that would matter. But yeah, need a Stokastic minutes run for me to really dive into it. Memphis one. So I'd have to update all this stuff myself. So sometimes I do miss one, and that's today I missed one. Memphis 124.3 implied points on their side. We've gone through this side. Desmond Bane's really the main thing. Everybody else, you can take shots if you want. Indiana, I got nothing. Gonna just go past it. Chicago, but if Halliburton's out, opens up Nembhard again, opens up McConnell. Hopefully, you guys know the deal with that at this point. Chicago, 117.8 implied points. Vucevic looks awful to me at this point. I would honestly rather play Tristan Vukovic over him relative to salaries and all that. Just doesn't do a whole lot with the various point guards not on the court. Sample size is not big for him playing without Levine, without Dosunmu, without Lonzo, but not having a true point guard out there feeding him in the post, letting him do a little bit more. The guys around him start to do a little bit more and take more usage, take more assist upside. Even Josh Giddey starts to rebound a lot more. As we've seen Giddey have the crazy upside lately. I've talked about him a lot on stream. I think Giddey is your best play in the Bulls, and I wouldn't touch Vucevic today, especially coming off a couple games of injury as well. Kobe White has spiked random upsides. I still don't get it too much. 8.4% for the field. I'm at 3. Trey Jones getting 10%. I don't really feel great about that, but he's playing starter minutes at 4,800. That's basically that for the Bulls. Orlando, 103.8 implied points. Not getting a lot of these guys here. Do have Banchero and Franz Wagner projected pretty close, but lower than Stokastic does. I think the total here, the matchup has me lower. Technically, it is a pace up for Orlando, but don't love the Houston matchup usually in my projection sets. Cole Anthony with the rate boost that he gets for out, no Jalen Suggs. No Mo Wagner, your two Magic guys that are, have played throughout the year, not playing today. Getting Cole Anthony a little bit, but not a whole lot for me to like at this point. Houston getting nothing here, which kind of surprises me with Amin Thompson out. But Amin Thompson, not a terribly high usage guy, does a little rebounding, a little bit assisting, but not a ton. So I could see why it wouldn't help out everybody. Rate-wise, the big winners are Şengün and Eason for court time without Amin Thompson, but neither is priced super competitively today. So I'm okay with either Şengün or Eason getting these guys around 5%, but no big stands. Did McConnell get injured last game? Okay. What are we doing here? I read your chat like it's something that's going to matter. But I get you're doing a bit. Nikola Jokic will warm up at the sense play. Yes, I saw that on the Twitter as I was going through it. Just keep it going. Dallas 112.5 and 5. Sometimes I guess I don't need to read every chat. That's my takeaway. Dallas 112.5 implied points. San Antonio 119.5 implied points on their side. Najee Marshall, the big stand here. I don't know how you don't play him at the very least with the field, but I think he should be in half your lineups. I think he's more likely to be in every lineup of mine because I'll just die on the hill today for a very short Mavs rotation. Klay Thompson gets a good amount of usage overall. I have him at 19% of my lineups, fields at 15. Not nearly as big of a stand as Najee Marshall being in every lineup, but that's basically it. Spencer Dinwiddie has basically been awful overall in court time without Luka, without Kyrie. It hasn't gotten better. He's, in fact, was playing off the bench last game. If Brandon Williams were out, Spencer Dinwiddie has to play another 5 minutes, I would guess. And then Exum probably picks up another 10. And then you still have another 10 minutes to go around for Brandon Williams. I don't think Brandon Williams plays, and he doesn't have to be active at all because they could have 8 guys without him who are active. So yeah, that's what it is right now for Dallas. Najee Marshall, I think a must have. I'm really low on Christie. Christie at this point, not showing enough rate wise to get where you need to go. I love Max Christie usually. I would find the $1,400 and play Najee Marshall literally every time. But Max Christie will play a lot of minutes. So I guess theoretically, if he got hot, if he started to do something more, Najee Marshall would kind of recede. But with how these teams have played and having watched enough Mavs games, because I keep having these guys on every fucking slate, you just play Najee Marshall, I think, and feel better about that, and fade Christie would be my thought. Brandon Williams also running out of games. He can play on a 2-way. I think he has like another dozen, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, that can matter too, but I think they would rather play him. He's frankly been good enough that like when they could sign him to a contract, they probably should. But yeah, I mean, he hurt his hamstring. It wasn't an obvious hurt. You just kind of saw him get better. And actually rewatched the game this morning because I was like, what the fuck happened? I saw the news alerts yesterday and then saw that he played a good amount of minutes, but didn't come back in. He didn't get like catastrophically hurt. He came in to play like one more minute at the end of the third quarter, and then they didn't bring him back out for the fourth because I guess he had left hamstring tightness. I don't know how you would play him and risk having him hurt then for whatever games you do need him in this next month before they can sign somebody else. But who knows? The basketball stuff at this point is weird, but the hamstring pulls tend to be pretty reliable, and he pulled his hamstring, couldn't go back in. 8 games left? Okay. I would think you sit him and let his hamstring get better. You have 8 guys. Like, they have 8 guys no matter what. And Brandon Williams, they could also, like, if they needed 8 guys, you could have Brandon Williams be active and not play him. If Brandon Williams doesn't start, I probably wouldn't play him, would be the main kind of caveat I would give, because he started last game. And that could be a thing too, where he would be active for some reason and then they don't play him. But they have enough guys so that it shouldn't have to do that, I would hope. This is the FanDuel slate, so I really don't care enough at this point because we are so behind schedule. Portland, Golden State, nobody stands out terribly well to me here. Take your shots on Steph Curry. Getting Jeremy Grant, Avdia not playing would help a little bit. Shaden Sharp gets more reliable then. Kamara gets a little more reliable. Scoot gets more reliable, but I don't love any of the players here projection-wise. Knicks, nobody looks that great as well for having Brunson out. Match versus Sacramento, though, not a bad one, but the totals here aren't great. Towns, you could always talk me into on a slate. Yeah, it's that. Miles McBride is a value play, I guess. So I think the price tag on FanDuel not quite as good, if I'm remembering correctly. And Sacramento, nobody here standing out that much. Malik Monk has to come out of the projection set because it looks like he's not going to play. But that's how that looks for these guys. Again, don't just don't care enough about FanDuel. I'll take a look at it before I do the deeper dive at 5:30 today. Besides that, I don't have time between updating the data all day long. All right, so let's go to Unabated now. We got to get some bets in. There you go. Steven knows. But let's see what the best bets are right now in Unabated. And of course, let's learn about the traditional projections because they help me put on the show every day. You should be playing in Unabated, using their tools every day like they do in this video. I feel like my intro for that sounded kind of like Tim Robinson talking about the tables videos. I think you should leave. But there's a lot of tables, a lot of graphs. I guess graphs are the equivalent of tables here in Unabated. The dynamic projections, guys in, guys out. Today there's probably 10 different projection sets for all the various Q tags. We'll see in a moment. But that's what you get Unabated. Different projection sets. You can transact on good bets or your DFS lineups almost immediately when the slate's going on. Of course, there are sort of prop lines here. You can see the simulations of data, including those sweet, sweet graphs. Everybody loves graphs. And you can see graphs on Unabated, your distribution. And of course, great Discord as well. I'm on there. I see their alerts. And you can chat with them too. And you'll be counting your money in Unabated. You get a great tool, great company for betting products, being aligned with people that you know are winning money, and also, frankly, have a large community of people that are going to fact check things and require stuff like this back-tested graph of data where you'd be up almost, actually a little bit over $45,000, I believe, if you played every bet 30 minutes before tip-off with a 5% or higher ROI. I show you the ones here that we get this time of day. They're in the 4 o'clock hour here on stream every Monday to Friday. But here in Unabated, you could be getting a lot more for yourself and a lot more EV. So check it out. Really can't speak highly enough rather, about Unabated and what they do for people, giving you a great tool. And again, one that you have bettors legit spending tens of thousands of dollars on their betting in a given night. With this data, you should feel a lot better about building your pick'ems and bullshit. No disrespect to you guys out there what you're betting, but really, there are people who are making a living off of this stuff and using this data intelligently. So here's your various conditional projection sets, by the way. Avdia, Stefan Castle, John Collins, Paul Luca, not my child, Tyrese Halliburton, Al Horford, Nikola Jokic, Larry Markkinen, Jamal Murray, Jason Tatum, Fred VanVleet, Brandon Williams, Trae Young. Jesus, that is a lot of Q tags. But let us simulate here. Let's look at every other team available. We got more than enough games in the slate, so we'll have a few. Graph porn, there we go. Come on, people, stop being lazy and smash. Well, I don't think we need to call everybody lazy, but yes, please do hit the like button. King's game went to OT, so the minutes are screwed a bit. Sure. Drums wake you up every time. That's all I can ever ask. All right, let's see what we got. Things are simulating, even though it doesn't look like it on the screen, because all these players up top, I believe, don't have projections, right? What is going on here? Okay, it says it's simulating. Don't dick me around here, Unabated. I've spoken so highly of you. Don't embarrass me in front of my friends, Unabated. I don't know when nobody's projections are shown up. Is it because every team on the slate has a Q tag? Is that possible? Shit, that actually might be possible, huh? Because the Knicks have Q tags. Sacramento has Q tags. This can't be right. Something's got to be fucked up here. I don't want to, throw Unabated out here in any way. Hold on. I'm going to open the projection in my Excel. I'm very confused. All right. I'm opening Excel to see. Oh, I don't have Excel paid for on this computer, and I can't do that now. What the fuck is going on? It says it's going, but it's not giving me lines. And this is not a good ad today, guys. I can see the view count dropping, but I have to do this part of the show. I can't just go to Stokastic now. There's got to be an upload error or something, or every team has a Q tag. And I think that, Brooklyn doesn't have a Q tag, and their projection's not coming in. So I think it's an error. It's normally you'd see a projection here. Not to belabor the point, guys, but I do want to do a service here. It's okay, Unabated. It's not my fault today. Ryan, no. You can't get me to do FanDuel. There's nothing motivating me to do FanDuel. I don't gamble on there. You can't be more clear about it. All this stuff I do. I place prop bets. I do DFS things on DraftKings. That's it. I tried turning off. Motherfuckers. I don't get what's going on here. It's like it's not running. There's too many games might be the issue. If it is 12 games today, let's see if no, I can't even sort this. All right. Yeah, so it's not nothing I can do on my end. I can't restart the computer. I can't unplug it. Check out other markets. Let me start putting some guys in arbitrarily. All right, here, John Collins. Okay, so that gives us something here. So it might just be that the projection set. Who did I just mark in? Oh, okay. So there must be an error on the overall projection set, but the conditional ones are pulling something up. Okay, you know what? We could do it this way. Because you know what? Like, you guys don't give a shit about John Collins, Stephon Castle, right? So we can just skip that. Yeah, see, now it's pulling them all in. Okay, so they have an error on the back end. We got it. All right. Swear to God. I felt like I was going insane because I'm like, I don't think every team has a Q tag, so we should be able to pull lines in. But if I had to guess, it's just because they can't. Their total projection set doesn't work correctly right now. But the individual ones that include a player being in or out, that works. All right, so there we go. We got a shitload of lines now. Oh, you guys are gonna be eating good in bets right now, I promise. All right. I understand, Ryan. I can't be all things for all people, but I appreciate you asking every time. I just can't be more clear, but it's not going to change here mid-season. Alex Caruso under 6.5 points. Look at FanDuel Sportsbook. That's pretty good. Looking good in every sportsbook. Alex Caruso here under 6.5 points. Good on PrizePicks and Underdog. That's where it looks the best with 17.6% EV. Also playable on DraftKings and FanDuel Sportsbook. There we go, Ryan. Playable on FanDuel Sportsbook as well for Alex Caruso under 6.5 points. Play it anywhere you can get it. Isaiah Hartenstein, we got over 10.5, under 11 points. Looking good here on PrizePicks, 16.3% EV. You can also bet Hartenstein under 10.5 points on Underdog and under 10.5 on DraftKings and FanDuel. So technically a grand slam here. It looks the best for Hartenstein under 11 on PrizePicks, but under 10.5 on Underdog, DraftKings, and FanDuel all looks good as well. Cole Anthony, under 12.5 points. Looks good on DraftKings Sportsbook, 13.9% EV. That's your best one. Still bettable on DraftKings, on PrizePicks, Underdog, and FanDuel, though. All playable EVs there for under 12.5 points for Cole Anthony. Bub Carrington, over 11 points. Looks best on PrizePicks, 12% EV for Bub Carrington, over 11 points on PrizePicks. Still bettable on DraftKings and FanDuel. You probably don't want the lower or the higher on Underdog. Justin Edwards, under 12.5 points, looking best on PrizePicks, 10.6% EV, still bettable on DraftKings and Underdog. No, not Underdog, on FanDuel as well. Under 12.5. Why does it have to move? Under 12.5 points for Justin Edwards. Take it anywhere you can get it, which is going to be mostly PrizePicks, DraftKings, and FanDuel. Jamal Shed, under 8.5 points, plus 100 odds on DraftKings looks the best, getting you 10.7% EV. And you probably don't want it on your pick'em sites, but you could take it on FanDuel as well for Jamal Shed, under 8.5 points. And Vince Williams, under 11.5 points, minus 118 odds on Underdog looks the best for the lower on Vince Williams, 10.3% EV. He's a Q tag. If he doesn't play, you will scratch and void. So maybe don't put him in a pick'em you love. But Vince Williams here, 10.3% EV for under 11.5 points on Underdog, and still playable on DraftKings and FanDuel as well for Vince Williams is under on points. All right, rebounds coming up next. I feel like I really IT'd this one though. I got my solution. It works. Why is my connection shitty now? What the fuck, man? fucking kill me here. And I'll be up on Stokastic at 5:30 too. If you want to stream where everything will be aligned a little bit better, check that out. All right. Come on, best lines. It's Miles Bridges' fault? Probably. Campaign under 1.5. I would love him to punch my router. The videos looks like, are you fucking with me? I don't get, like, I'm connected to Wi-Fi, so I don't know how or to a landline rather. So that's that. Oh, okay. Huh. All right. I don't fucking know, guys. Maybe Unabated is jinxing me for accidentally showing the product not work. Campaign under 1.5 rebounds, looking good on PrizePicks, 21% EV, not playable anywhere else. So Campaign's rebounds bet, take the under on PrizePicks only, not a minutes beneficiary, shockingly, from Jalen Brunson being out. Vince Williams under 4.5 rebounds, looking good everywhere besides Underdog. Under 4.5 on FanDuel looks the best at plus 122, but under 5 rebounds on PrizePicks looks playable, and under 5.5 on DraftKings. Also playable for Vince Williams unders today. Franz Wagner under 5.5 rebounds. Good on PrizePicks and Underdog. A little bit less good on DraftKings and FanDuel. Playable on both for Franz Wagner under 5.5 rebounds. Devin Booker over 3.5 rebounds. Best on FanDuel Sportsbook at -113 odds. Gets you 10.6% EV. Playable on DraftKings as well, where it's -120 odds. And on PrizePicks too, 8.4% EV. So Devin Booker, playable everywhere besides Underdog. Corey Kispert, we got 9.7% EV for him. Under 3.5 rebounds on PrizePicks. And you probably don't want that one anywhere else. Jalen Wells, under 3.5 rebounds for him, looking best on Underdog, 9.3% EV, and also playable on FanDuel for Jalen Wells, under 3.5 rebounds. And Jared Rhoden, under 4.5 rebounds, playable on Underdog, nowhere else for Jared Rhoden's lower on 4.5 rebounds. Assist coming up next. Thank you for the feedback. I think it's just a random course of events that I'll probably need to reset the computer afterwards, and hopefully it'll fix, but we'll see. Looking at my phone, I look like I'm normal on my phone. I don't know. All right. Probably Alex's fault. When in doubt. All right, we got Tyus Jones, 17.1% EV for his under 7 assists. That one's on PrizePicks. Also bettable on DraftKings and FanDuel. Again, Underdog kills your unabated lines the fastest. So if you want to play on Underdog, get in on unabated and do it the moment that the projections come out. But Tyus Jones, playable everywhere besides Underdog for under 7 assists, or under 6.5 on DraftKings and FanDuel. Isaiah Hartenstein under 3.5 assists, looking best on DraftKings Sportsbook at -115 odds. Playable on FanDuel as well. Playable on PrizePicks. Wendell Carter under 2.5 assists, looking best on PrizePicks, 16.6% EV, still bettable on FanDuel as well, where it's 12% EV. Jonas Valanciunas under 3.5 assists, looking best on PrizePicks as well, 16.1% EV, and you don't want to take that bet anywhere else. Jimmy Butler under 6 assists, 15.3% EV on PrizePicks, not playable anywhere else. Alex Caruso under 2.5 assists, looking best at +100 on FanDuel, still bettable on PrizePicks and DraftKings. And Vince Williams over 2.5 assists, bet +100 odds on DraftKings, gets you 14.2% EV, still okay to play on your pick'em sites. Over 2.5 assists there, 5.5% EV. And PRA is coming up last. Maybe we'll do a DFS sim, and Stokastic doesn't start till 5:30, so I'll have some downtime here to rerun my data and hopefully figure out why my connection would possibly be unstable. Oh, unabated and Wi-Fi working against me today. Who's going to conspire against me next? It's unabated and my Wi-Fi working together. Did not expect that dynamic duo. Precious Achiuwa under 10.5 PRA is playable on Underdog at 24.4. That's a really high EV number. Underdog still playable on PrizePicks as well, 19% EV. Precious Achiuwa basically not in the rotation these days, or not meaningfully in the rotation. You can play him today on your pick'em sites, but not on your regular sports books for the under on 10.5 or 10.5 PRAs. Duncan Robinson, we got 11.7% EV for Duncan Robinson, under 17.5 PRAs. Still playable on PrizePicks where it's under 17 PRAs, and still playable on DraftKings where it's under 16.5 PRAs at -105 odds for Duncan Robinson. Vince Williams under 19.5 PRAs. A lot of unders on Vince, back-to-back for him, and a Q tag. So, again, all bets that feel pretty okay. 10.6% EV on your pickup sites for Vince Williams, under 19.5 PRAs. And you could play it on DraftKings if you want, under 18.5 PRAs. Jamal Shed under 16.5 PRAs looks best on DraftKings. We're getting 9.4% EV, but still pretty good on Underdog and PrizePicks, 8.1% EV. Cole Anthony under 20.5 PRAs, 8.6% EV for you on DraftKings. You probably don't want anywhere else. Cam Johnson over 25.5 PRAs, -102 odds on FanDuel, getting 8.4% EV, but you don't want anywhere besides FanDuel. And Bub Carrington over 21.5 PRAs, +100 odds on FanDuel is the best. You can still bet it on DraftKings and PrizePicks, or over 20 and over 20.5 and over 21 PRAs for Bub Carrington. So we're really running the gamut here. But over 21.5 looks good for Bub. Over 21 looks good. And over 20.5 looks good on DraftKings Sportsbook. Now, the last stage of our journey, which unfortunately does not involve me getting rid of this fucking little unstable connection logo on StreamYard. We're going to run a sim here on Stokastic. Their data was updated, it looks like, about 20 minutes ago, so we'll get a fresh run for them. And, of course, this is not my data involved at all, just Stokastic's data, so see one of the top products in the space thinks. Of course, check out one of the other top products I just showed you, Unabated, 20% off, link down below. Then, again, really does support the show. Great product. You want to get better at betting, Unabated is a great way to do that. and Stokastic, 15% off, link down below as well. Again, great partners to me as well. Half the money that you pay to Stokastic comes my way, so it really does support the show directly if you get one of their DFS tools or their DFS data, so check it out. Any sport as well, NBA, MMA, PGA, NASCAR, whatever you want to get for yourself, get it for 15% off, and that's the only discount that Stokastic has right now, so check it out. I'm also going to check my connection here at the same time and see. Maybe it went on Wi-Fi. Maybe my Ethernet connection somehow fucked up. All right, that's possible. Sim's running. I can look at Wi-Fi connections. Yeah, it says connected on Ethernet, so it's not that. Fuck me. All right, let's run this sim. Of course, Stokastic building 5,000 lineups, having them compete 10,000 times. So you can see the settings I used on a sim here. What I would do for myself is I would be uploading my projections in on top of it, and then you could decide your exposures on your full set of lineups, but follow your heart accordingly. You can also just take the lineup straight from Stokastic if you want. Honestly, a lot of guys who work there do that, and some of them have won $100,000 on a slate before. So it's all up to you. Personal choice. Like, I downloaded this from LimeWire. What the fuck? Okay, I'm going to watch on my phone and see. The audio sounds good, though, right? Oh, yeah, I see myself freezing with a stupid face. That's upsetting. I want to blame StreamYard. I'm going to fucking run a speed test here. Speed test. Speedtest.net. Sim's running. I think this is more important at this point, right? All right, how fast is my Wi-Fi? Let's find out. We're going to check the DFS results here on Stokastic. Okay, allow this time. You know my location. It's not even giving me numbers. Am I even on the internet? Is the call coming from inside the house? Am I only broadcasting to myself? Is this the lesson I had to learn today? Oh, here we go. Here's the numbers. That's fast. This is StreamYard's fault. Look at these numbers. If I put these numbers up in a fucking NFL combine, every team would want to draft me. I dare you to find another streamer with better upload and download speeds. Is what I'm going to say. It's blurred, but you can see the big numbers up there. 1 million megabytes per second, basically, is where we're at. Anyway, fuck it. we got these DFS sims. Those are great numbers. Again, I challenge you. Go to any other streamer out there. Tell them to pull up speedtest.net. You find somebody faster than me, you get all my content for free here on this YouTube channel. All right, top lineups with Stokastic. We'll be back on track now that I've driven myself insane. Stokastic, loving Jared Butler today. So they must have given him more minutes than I did. Jared Butler, Lonnie Walker, your Sixers cheap guys. RJ Barrett, Najee Marshall. Thank God we agree on that. Alex Sarr getting leverage on Vucevic. Russell Westbrook, Dante Exum, Nikola Jokic. Totally logical lineup. I see no issue with it, really, besides me being confused at how many minutes they gave Jared Butler. At number 2, Jared Butler, Lonnie Walker, Ricky Council, Jared Vanderbilt makes this one. Nikola Jokic, Trae Young, Najee Marshall, Russell Westbrook. These lineups look a lot like what I would have made. So, again, no issue with it. Too many Roman numeral guys, though. Too many Roman numeral guys on one team with Lonnie Walker and Ricky Council on the Sixers. Number 3. Thanks. That's a funny one. Maybe I'm just blurry today. Maybe that's it. Porzingis isn't playing today, so he had to get some sick burns on me. But that could be it. I feel blurry emotionally. I did work out today, like lifted some weights, went on a long walk. Got my 10,000 steps. It's not fucking 30 degrees out today, so that could be it. Also, I burned too much energy. Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker the 4th, not to be confused with Lonnie Walker the 3rd. Dante Exum, Ricky Council, also the 4th. Nikola Jokic, Jordan Poole makes this one. Devin Vassell, who is one of the rate winners from not having Wemby out there, frankly plays just as well as De'Aaron Fox. The connection thing seems stable now. Hopefully the video's better. That totally StreamYard's fault. Fuck StreamYard for subjecting me to that. That's how I feel about it. That's it. I decided so you guys had to be mean to me. I had to get dunked on. You'll have to call me blurry. Anyway, Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker, Exum, Council, Jokic, Poole, Vassell, Westbrook is at number 3. Number 4, Jared Butler, Austin Reeves, Ricky Council again, Jalen Williams, Tristan Vucevic makes this one. Lonnie Walker, Najee Marshall, Nikola Jokic. I mean, look, I think they're pretty strongly agreeing with the minutes I gave. Even Russell makes this one. I really have no critiques of these top 5. Russell, Lonnie Walker, Scotty Barnes, Ricky Council, Nikola Jokic, Jared Butler, Najee Marshall, Russell Westbrook. So, yeah, what I like too. I mean, I like Russell. Honestly, just good lineups. Good lineups. Getting leverage with Sarr on Vucevic in the top one, that makes sense. It's a good set of lineups. But we'll see what we get overall in the exposures. Your top ROI player right now, according to Stokastic, Nikola Jokic. So even though he's 12-9, not highly owned enough. Do have some concerns with that total that you get one of Jokic or Murray sitting. But if Murray were out, Jokic's projection would look even better if he were to play. So that's it right now. You got to know Jokic's status, though, and Murray, both guys Q tags. But as people talked about, tweeted out today from Shams, I guess is what it was, based on what the chat was saying, apparently he intends to play today. Murray, I don't know if he intends to play, so we'll find that out. Hopefully you don't have to score 500 points of cash today. I cashed with $3.99 in the 4-point play, top 1,000 in the 4-point play on Friday, but that was a tough slate, man. If you told me I got $3.99 in the slate, I wouldn't think I won it, but I would think top 50, top 100 at the very least. Top 1,000 was rough. Got a lot of shit right on Friday. It's tough when you get things right and you still get your ass kicked for the most part in the slate. Tristan Vukcevic at number 2, 0% ROI. Don't worry about whether it's a positive or negative ROI. The directional accuracy of the top ROI players is kind of the main thing that matters for Stokastic data. Number 3 is Alex Sarr. So if Vukcevic doesn't hit, Alex Sarr hitting makes a lot of sense. Again, it's really a band of like, you need 3 minutes more for Sarr to hit. And then if he does hit in a major way, Vukcevic didn't get there. So with the ownership going Vucevic's way, it just makes sense to play at least 20% Sarr, I think, today. I hate Sarr as a player. Never get him in my projection set, but I will boost him so I get him in lineups where I'm not getting Vucevic today, at least for some amount. Ricky Council, number 4 guy. Lonnie Walker, number 5 guy. Your Sixers wings, just a lot of minutes to go around. If Grimes is going to be minutes limited, you're not playing Oubre today, and that's already the case that we know. Russell Westbrook, negative 6.4% ROI. He is at number 6 here. And Paolo Banchero coming up at number 7. I'm not crazy about Banchero today. Stokastic data, they're getting 100% Lonnie Walker. So I prefer Najee Marshall, was getting about 100% of him in my sim. They prefer Lonnie Walker today at 3,600 being one of the value plays, and he should be playing low 30s minutes no matter what. We got Jared Butler at number 2. They must have given Jared Butler a good amount of minutes, just out of curiosity. What did they give old Butler? Gave Butler 25 minutes, so frankly, could have given him more if you think he starts and plays big run, because he basically played 25 minutes last game for Philly anyway. So Jared Butler, you have no Maxey, shortened rotation, no Oubre, opens up a few minutes for him as well, probably. So you're getting almost 2x the field on Jared Butler here. 65% of Stokastic's top 150 lineups have Jared Butler in it. Najee Marshall, only 57% compared to 49. I have Najee Marshall in basically every lineup that I sim before the show, so keep that in mind. Nikola Jokic, 57% compared to 16, so more than half the lineups that they gave you today have Nikola Jokic. So pretty big pro stand on Jokic today with that price tag being so high. I guess they just think people won't play it. Ricky Council at the minimum salary, getting 2x the field on him in Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Alex Sarr getting about 2x the field on him, so Vukcevic, you're getting him at 25%. You're getting Sarr at that same 27%, basically. So, again, that's the sim approach. That's what I would have done, and that's what the sim is doing. And then Russell Westbrook, you're getting him almost 2x the field as well. 27% compared to the field's 15. Highest leverage guys, Jokic 40% more than the field. Lonnie Walker 28% more than the field, and he is in literally every lineup for Stokastic. Jared Butler 27% more than the field. Ricky Council 25%. Tristan Vukcevic 15% more than the field. His ownership looks like they knocked it down to 9%. Alex Sarr 12.5% more than the field, and Russell Westbrook 12% more than the field. And your negative leverage guys, Desmond Bane, I disagree with that. They're getting only 19% fields at 30. He projects too highly for me to get to that low amount of him. Jaylen Brown, negative 10% leverage. Nick Claxton, negative 9%. Orlando Robinson, negative 8%. That I'm fine with. Jason Tatum, negative 7% leverage for him, only getting him in 11% of your lineups. And if he doesn't play, obviously it's going to matter a lot for Boston and these lineups. Klay Thompson, negative 6% leverage. Usage gets really high for him in the shorthanded Dallas team, but you could fade Klay, and I wouldn't be mad at it. And John Morant, negative 6% leverage for him as well. They're fading Bane. They're fading Morant. I really would play Bane based on the rates. But that's the slate with Stokastic data, guys. I'll give you guys my splash plays in one moment. But first, let's do the plugs. 15% off Stokastic. The only deal they have going right now, you want to use their sims, you want to use their data, or you want to use my data and plug it into their sim like some folks do, including me. You check it out down below. Link in the description to go check out Stokastic at 15% off. Again, the only promo they have going, and not allowed to talk about on Stokastic content. So it's really a special deal for you guys to do check out what I'm doing over here. Unabated, 20% off. Basically, for them, another great betting tool. So you have a great DFS tool in Stokastic. Get some great betting tools at Unabated. People spend thousands of dollars daily winning money with Unabated, and they show you the data, the backtested data that would have you up $45,000 if you placed every bet 30 minutes before tip-off every single day with a 5% or higher ROI. So It's really not that hard in betting sometimes if you follow good data and tools as opposed to people talking shit on Twitter. So please do check it out. Really, you want to change your life in betting, Unabated will do it for you. And it is really a tool that is beyond the breath of most of the fucking mouth breathers. You're going to get it. I say that as somebody that does often breathe out of my mouth. All right, splash plays for the day. Najee Marshall, Desmond Bane, those guys, I don't know how I'm not going to get them. I do think Vucevic is an important play for me as well. Again, lineups where I don't have him, I will be boosting Alex Sarr because I'm going to get a lot of Vucevic naturally. But I do think he's a core play. Lonnie Walker, I'm not like as into as Stokastic is, but I still think he would be a splash play in terms of the value. Hard for me to imagine him not getting 30 plus minutes when he did that yesterday with Oubre playing, not playing a lot, but still playing. And besides that, I think that's it. RJ Barrett would be another one. Okongwu would be another one right now. D'Angelo Russell to a lesser extent. It's going to be a lot of my player pool guys, but the Najee Marshall, Desmond Bane ones are probably the big ones. Vucevic, probably another big one. And we'll see what else opens up, guys. So I'll be on Stokastic's channel in about 20 minutes. Go follow me over there. Go check me out. Of course, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. Goes a long way from here. Just one dude running a channel here for the NBA, and it takes a lot of work, especially in this crazy time of year where shit changes throughout the day, shit changes week to week. It's going to get worse in the tanking season, but I am really equipped to be good at the tanking time of year. I know the shit better than most people, and my projections work really well with shitty players, as you might have seen on Friday with the Thunder. So please do join along for the journey here. Subscribe, hit the like button. Shows Monday to Friday. Gamble responsibly. And again, I will be out on Thursday and Friday this week. We have a little family trip with Alex's family, so you'll get me Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday and Friday. It bums me out, but it's you fucking men know. Gamble responsibly, especially on Thursday and Friday. Even it's always money time here. Join down below for $5. You want to get on the Discord. You want to get my projections. Check out the Squirt Squad tier or the Squirt Squad VIP tier. You can see the stuff I show you on screen every day. And I'll be back tomorrow, guys. So, hey, enjoy your days. Pray for the slate. And good luck, guys. See you soon. Bye-bye.